Hello everyone and welcome to my channel YNR Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Restless Young, according to spoilers and updates, Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, may be abducted by Matt Clark, also known as Mitch Bacall, Roger Howarth, as retaliation against Victor Newman, Eric Braden. Will Matt decide to put his wife in grave danger in order to cause Victor pain? Victor started the AI program in the system of the Shadow Room. On the December 4th episode, Victor made a big move by starting the AI program on the Shadow Room system with the intention of taking all of Matt's possessions. Although the original plan was to force Matt to divulge Noah Newman's, Lucas Adams, location, Victor chose to initiate the program after learning that Noah had succeeded in gaining his release. Matt angrily declared that this was far from finished as he bolted into the night. This fits in well with the YNR spoilers, which indicate that Matt will eventually arrive in Genoa City and bring with him a wave of instability that will totally upend the Newman family. Matt intends to exact revenge on both Noah and the Newmans. Matt will, of course, exact revenge on Noah, Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, and Sharon Newman, Sharon Case. But it's crucial to remember that Matt's retaliation won't spare Victor either. In fact, by planning Matt's financial demise, Victor might have unintentionally put himself at the top of Matt's list for retribution. It's probable that Matt will spend some time underground before emerging in Genoa City, ready for a fierce battle. Given how drastically his life as Mitch has fallen apart, it probably won't be long before Matt takes significant action against Victor and the entire Newman family. Victor will have to face the consequences of his choice. The question still stands. How will Matt make sure Victor actually suffers for his actions? Victor will unavoidably have to deal with the consequences of his choice with that AI program. Given that Victor loves Nikki more than almost anything else in his life, Matt would think that going after her would be a great way to start his schemes. Nikki might very well be Matt's next victim, because he has shown that kidnapping is one of his favorite ways to exact retribution. Matt might kidnap Nikki and demand Victor's whole fortune in exchange for her safe return, or something like that. Whatever the details, it looks like Nikki might be in danger when Matt gets back to town. In the twisting, high-stakes world of the young and the restless, few storylines have ignited as much anxiety, speculation, and raw emotional energy as the escalating war between Victor Newman and the man formerly known as Matt Clark, now living under the alias Mitch Bacall, which has already spiraled into a chain of decisions that could soon explode into one of the most dangerous confrontations the Newman family has faced in years. According to the latest spoilers and updates circulating through the fan community, Nikki Newman may soon find herself pulled into the crossfire in the most terrifying way imaginable, because Matt, cornered, furious, and stripped of everything he built under his false identity, may retaliate by abducting the one person Victor loves more fiercely than almost anything else. For weeks now, Matt has been carefully maneuvering behind the scenes, playing the charming mastermind while building the Shadow Room empire under the Mitch Bacall persona. But when Victor launched his AI program inside the Shadow Room system during the December 4th episode, everything collapsed. The money, the infrastructure, the influence, the carefully forged identity, all of it disintegrated under the devastating force of Victor's attack. Victor had originally intended to deploy the AI to force Matt to reveal Noah's location. But once Victor discovered Noah had already escaped Matt's grip, he shifted into a more merciless strategy. Take everything from Matt, erase him financially, and leave him with nothing but rage to cling to. When Matt realized what Victor had done, he didn't crumble. He detonated, storming into the night and vowing that the war between them was far from finished. A threat that echoes with a level of menace unlike anything Genoa City has seen in years. Spoilers state that Matt is not gone, far from it. He is regrouping. He is descending into the shadows. And he will eventually re-emerge in Genoa City, with a level of instability and fury that will upend the Newman empire from the inside out. Because Matt Clark has a long violent history with the Newman family, his vendetta stretches back decades with Nick and Sharon, and now Noah has been added to the list after being tortured, manipulated, and hunted by Matt during the Shadow Room arc. But this time, the scope of his revenge is expanding to a far more catastrophic target: Victor Newman himself. By destroying Matt's financial world, Victor unintentionally elevated himself to the top of Matt's kill list, making himself the ultimate symbol of everything Matt has lost and everything he intends to reclaim through destruction. The downfall of Mitch McCall wasn't simply a financial inconvenience. It was a psychological unraveling for a man who had reconstructed his entire identity. And when someone's sense of self collapses, their revenge becomes limitless, unpredictable, and terrifyingly explosive. Spoilers hint that Matt will stay underground for a short while, licking his wounds, rebuilding his contacts, and plotting an assault so cunning and so devastating that Genoa City will feel the tremors long before he even arrives. Each day he spends in the shadows only intensifies his fury, and each moment pushes him closer to the decision that the best way to destroy Victor Newman is not through money, not through manipulation, not through AI counterattacks, but through the heart. And the heart of Victor Newman has always been Nikki. For decades, Nikki has been Victor's weakness, his soft spot, the one place where the unbreakable Titan can be wounded. She is his center, his compass, his greatest love, and his most dangerous vulnerability. And Matt knows this. He has always known this. For someone like Matt Clark, who has already used kidnapping, manipulation, and psychological terror as weapons against the Newmans, the idea of abducting Nikki is not shocking. It is logical, strategic, and almost inevitable. Spoilers suggest that Matt may seize Nikki not only to psychologically torture Victor, but also to gain bargaining power over the fortune Victor used to destroy him. Matt could demand Victor transfer his entire wealth or hand over Newman Enterprises, or dismantle the AI program, or even publicly confess to cybercrimes, anything that would humiliate and cripple Victor, forcing him to feel the same powerlessness Matt felt when the Shadow Room collapsed. And Victor, despite all his strength and authority, would be cornered in a way he hasn't been in years. Because Nikki's safety would come before every empire he built, every deal he forged, every company he owns. If it came down to saving Nikki or defending his fortune, Victor would choose Nikki in a heartbeat, and Matt knows it. That is precisely why Nikki is the perfect target. But Matt's motivations go deeper than simple revenge. Losing everything has driven him into a psychological break, shattering the lines between Mitch McCall and Matt Clark. He is no longer a man playing a role. He is two fractured identities colliding, and the damage is spilling outward into violence, obsession, and tunnel vision. Spoilers tease that Matt's return to Genoa City won't be quiet. It will be theatrical. It will be calculated. And it will be fueled by a level of rage that no Newman can fully anticipate. The question now, looming over the audience, the Newmans and Nikki herself, is how far Matt will go, and how much damage he will inflict before Victor can stop him. And the truth is, the possibilities are endless. Matt might stalk Nikki silently for days, watching her routines, learning her vulnerabilities, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. He might lure her with a fake emergency involving someone she cares about, perhaps a crisis involving Noah or Sharon. He might drug her at an event, kidnap her from the ranch, stage a car accident, or even steal her away during one of her vulnerable moments of sobriety struggle. Matt is unpredictable. Matt is clever. Matt is enraged. And rage paired with intelligence makes him one of the most dangerous villains Genoa City has ever seen. Spoilers suggest that if Matt does abduct Nikki, her captivity will not be brief, and it will not be simple. Matt won't merely hold her hostage. He will want her to suffer emotionally, to fear, to feel the consequences of Victor's decisions. He may remind her of all the ways Victor has harmed people over the years. He may try to turn Nikki against Victor psychologically, twisting her memories, manipulating her mind, forcing her to confront the darkest parts of her past. And Victor, who has faced ruthless enemies but always found a way to stay one step ahead, may finally be forced into a position where he has no control. His empire, his power, his alliances, none of it will matter. What will matter is finding Nikki before Matt's rage crosses a line that cannot be undone. As spoilers point out, this storyline is designed to push Victor into one of the most desperate battles of his life. Matt wants Victor to suffer. Matt wants him broken. And targeting Nikki is the perfect weapon. Her disappearance would shatter the family. Victoria would panic, Nick would blame himself, Noah would spiral with guilt, Sharon would be terrified, and even Adam, who has had a complicated history with both Nikki and Victor, would feel compelled to act. The Newman family would go to war, not just with Matt but with themselves, as old wounds reopen and guilt floods to the surface. And Victor, for the first time in a long while, would be forced to reckon with the consequences of a decision he made in anger, activating the AI program that destroyed Matt's life. In many ways, this story is about cause and effect, an action Victor believed was necessary, spinning out into a disaster that threatens everything he holds dear. And Nikki, always the emotional backbone of the family, becomes the symbol of Victor's vulnerability. Meanwhile, Matt grows more unstable by the day, and the underground world he knows so well becomes his playground. A place where he can hide Nikki, manipulate events, and taunt Victor from the shadows with cryptic messages, threats, or even live feeds proving Nikki is alive but in danger. Spoilers tease that Matt may even force Victor into a horrifying emotional game, demanding impossible choices or setting deadlines that Victor must meet to keep Nikki alive. And each moment could push Victor closer to breaking, blurring the line between justice and revenge, until even he no longer recognizes the man he has become. But the biggest question remains: how far will Matt go? And can Nikki survive long enough for Victor to save her? As spoilers continue to warn, Nikki's life may be hanging by a thread as Matt makes his next move. And when he finally steps out of the shadows and back into Genoa City, he will bring with him a storm of vengeance that threatens to destroy the Newmans from the inside out. Whatever happens, one thing is certain: the moment Matt Clark returns, nothing will ever be the same again. As the dark storm of Matt Clark's impending return gathers over Genoa City, the emotional, psychological, and strategic pressure intensifies on every member of the Newman family, widening cracks that have existed for years and exposing vulnerabilities that Matt will eagerly exploit the moment he resurfaces. Even before his physical return, his ghost hovers over the ranch like a curse waiting to be activated, turning every shadow into a threat and every ringing phone into a potential nightmare. Nikki, unaware that Matt is already plotting the next stage of his revenge, continues to sense a creeping dread she cannot fully articulate, her instincts sharpened just enough to feel that a storm is brewing. Yet the full reality of the danger remains concealed beneath layers of Victor's secrecy and control. Victor himself tries to project confidence as he monitors the fallout from the AI attack, telling his family the situation is under control even though inside, he is seething with a mixture of pride, fear, and escalating panic. Destroying Matt's empire should have felt like a triumph, a strategic masterstroke proving the great Victor Newman still commands his empire with an iron fist, but instead, it has opened a door to consequences he cannot shut. Spoilers suggest that Victor's internal fears will worsen long before he can admit them to anyone else, especially because he knows Matt is not the type of man who simply runs away when cornered. Matt is a beast of vengeance, a man who thrives on obsession, fueled by the belief that life owes him something, and that anyone who stands in the way of what he wants deserves punishment. And now that his Mitch Bacall identity, his carefully crafted mask, has been obliterated, Matt is operating under raw emotion, no longer calculating for preservation of his persona, but instead calculating for destruction, chaos, and retribution. That mindset makes him unstoppable. Spoilers indicate that during his time underground, Matt will obsessively replay every moment of his downfall, fueling his desire to make the Newmans pay. He will blame Noah for defying him, Nick and Sharon for their long history of standing in his way, and Victor for dealing the death blow that obliterated everything Matt built. But it is Nikki, the heart of the Newman family, who becomes Matt's chosen target not simply because she is loved, but because she is the one pressure point Victor cannot fortify with guards, technology, or corporate power. Nikki is emotional, empathetic, loyal, and despite her strength, vulnerable in ways that make her an easy victim for a predator like Matt. Spoilers hint that Matt will spend days or even weeks watching her from afar, doing reconnaissance from rooftops, alleys, or anonymous vehicles, studying her schedules and vulnerabilities, moments when she walks alone, times when she meets someone without security, patterns in her daily habits that he can exploit. He knows the ranch, knows the Newman Tower layout, knows her social circles, knows her routines, understands how Victor operates. And when a villain understands both the target and the environment, the abduction becomes a matter of timing, rather than possibility. Meanwhile, Victor grows increasingly paranoid and begins quietly strengthening the ranch's security, installing new cameras, enhancing the AI surveillance system, tightening entry protocols, yet he still refuses to tell Nikki the full truth. He wants to protect her by omission, believing that knowledge of Matt's rage will worsen her anxiety and trigger her past traumas. But this secrecy will only play into Matt's hands, because Nikki's lack of awareness leaves her unprepared for the danger that lurks behind every corner. Spoilers suggest that Nikki may even begin experiencing strange phenomena, hearing noises, sensing she's being followed, receiving anonymous messages or flowers, or discovering small objects moved around the ranch. These subtle psychological tactics are classic Matt. Priming the victim, destabilizing their emotional state, weakening their sense of safety before the real attack begins. Matt wants Nikki afraid. He wants her vulnerable. And he wants Victor to feel that he failed her. Sharon, with her intuition and history with Matt, might sense the threat sooner than anyone else. Spoilers tease that Sharon will have flashes of dread as memories resurface of the horrors Matt inflicted on her decades ago. She will warn Nick that something feels wrong, that Matt is not the type to disappear quietly. But Nick, already overloaded with guilt over Noah's involvement in trying to keep the family stable, might dismiss Sharon's concerns at first, believing Victor's precautions are enough. This denial only deepens the impending danger. Meanwhile, Noah struggles emotionally, consumed with guilt, fear and trauma after Matt's earlier attacks. Spoilers say he may try to warn Victor that Matt is not finished, but Victor, in his typical fashion, may give a curt, authoritative assurance that everything is under control, an assurance that no one truly believes. Noah's unresolved fear becomes part of the emotional weight that will come crashing down the moment Matt strikes. And strike he will. When Matt decides the time is right, spoilers suggest he will execute the abduction with chilling efficiency. Perhaps he intercepts Nikki after a charity event when she steps outside alone for air. Maybe he forces her off the road while she's driving to the Newman Ranch. He might drug her through a drink handed off at a gala or catch her alone in a moment of vulnerability at the rehab center or Newman Tower. Matt is unpredictable but meticulous, and whichever method he uses, Nikki will not see it coming. She might feel the presence behind her, hear his voice in the darkness, or be grabbed before she can even scream. And when she awakens, if he drugs her, she will find herself in one of Matt's underground hideouts, a location chosen specifically because Victor will struggle to find it. Spoilers tease that Matt may force Nikki into a psychological torment chamber, confronting her with audio recordings, photos or reminders of Victor's past crimes, manipulation or betrayals. He will attempt to break her psychologically not only to harm her but also to craft a message to Victor. This is what your choices cost. Nikki's captivity becomes the catalyst for one of the most emotionally explosive arcs in Newman history. Victor unravels the moment she disappears. The ranch enters full lockdown. Victoria demands to take control of the investigation. Nick blames Victor for provoking Matt. Noah sinks into guilt and panic, convinced that Matt abducted Nikki because of him. Sharon, triggered by her own history with Matt, joins the hunt but also battles her resurfacing trauma. Even Adam, usually the wild card, might step up as the unexpected voice of logic, pushing Victor to accept help rather than operate alone. Spoilers indicate that Victor will descend into a kind of primal fury, willing to use every resource he has, legal or otherwise, to get Nikki back. But Matt anticipates this. He taunts Victor with calls, texts, or videos, proving Nikki is alive but deeply threatened. He may set deadlines, demanding money or leverage, demands Victor grudgingly meets, but Matt will keep moving the goalposts because his real goal is not ransom. His real goal is Victor's torment. Spoilers also suggest that Nikki will display tremendous resilience, even while terrified. She will confront Matt verbally, try to manipulate him, use compassion or psychology to weaken him, recalling his fractured identity and using Mitch Bacall against the Matt Clark persona. She may attempt escape, perhaps injuring herself in the process. But Matt is too unstable, too consumed by revenge to show mercy, and each escape attempt fuels his rage further. As the days continue, Victor's desperation pushes him into morally gray territory. He may enlist old enemies of Matt. He may use the AI program in unauthorized ways. He may even consider acts of violence that blur the line between justice and vengeance. Spoilers hint at a major confrontation brewing, not just between Victor and Matt, but within the Newman family itself, as fear and blame spiral into arguments, accusations, and emotional breakdowns. Victoria might accuse Victor of reckless arrogance. Nick may explode in frustration, insisting Victor caused all this by pushing too far. Adam may shock everyone by offering the most level-headed approach, and Noah may fall apart completely, convinced Matt kidnapped Nikki to punish him personally. The abduction becomes the emotional earthquake that shatters every relationship, every loyalty, every illusion of control. Meanwhile, Matt's psychological state deteriorates. His identity fractures further. He begins talking to Nikki as if she is part of his past. He confuses timelines. He slips between rage, obsession, delusion, and eerie calm. The longer Nikki is captive, the more dangerous Matt becomes. Not just because of what he wants to do to Victor, but because his mind is slipping into a chaotic spiral that even he can't fully control. Spoilers suggest that the climax of the storyline will involve a shocking confrontation in Matt's hideout, possibly a warehouse, abandoned building, or secret shadow room facility. Victor, perhaps with Nick or Adam, will track Matt down. Nikki may attempt one final escape, triggering chaos. A struggle will erupt, violent, desperate, emotionally explosive. And the outcome will change the Newman family forever. Whether Matt survives, whether Nikki emerges unbroken, whether Victor crosses lines he can never uncross, those details remain uncertain. But one truth is clear. Once Matt Clark re-enters Genoa City, everything will ignite in a blaze of vengeance, fear, and revelation. And whether the Newmans win or lose, nothing in their world will ever be the same again.